Morning, folks. Brian here. It's Tuesday, May 5, 2025. Speaking of 2025, what foreknowledge does the government and the elite have for this year, 2025? Now, I've been saying for several years, ignore Agenda 2030. 2030 is not the year. 2025 is. Agenda 2030 is a distraction. Or maybe that was part of the plan, but they realize that a certain timeline has been moved up. As something draws closer, they have to fine-tune their expectations and calculations. 2025. So what foreknowledge do they have of? One, how do they know, as they've been saying for years, that the axial seamount, which is a submarine volcano off the coast of Washington, how do they know it's going to erupt by 2025? No one can know that. Mount Spur volcano in Alaska. How can they know with absolute assurance that it's going to soon erupt? And according to a report that flashed across the internet screen, how can they know that it's going to result in an eruption up to 55,000 feet? How can you know that? Nobody can know that. Let's continue. Klaus Schwab, the former head of the World Economic Forum, has been stated for a few years now that there will be a global cyber attack that will take down the grids and internet. How can you know that by 2025? And of course, now he has retired. You wonder why? Getting himself secure. Bill G has stated that the next pandemic will be by 2025 and will be 10 times worse than the last pandemic. Now, a few of these things are obvious because they're going to be orchestrated. U.S. Air Force General says there will be a war with China by 2025. The Deagle organization, which is a private think tank, who reports to the U.S. government, NSA, Fortune 500, issued a report in 2014, a prediction of substantial global economic loss and population loss by 2025. Now, when the started in 2021, they removed that from their website. Lots of information, people can dig it up. Approximately 75% reduction in the population in the United States, 25 to 29% reduction in the Canadian population. Most of it's going to be in the Western world, most of it. How do these people know all these things? There is another source of foreknowledge, of course, and that is Scripture. So let me offer you some of what they say is going to be cover story. Cyber attack is the cover story because of our failing protective magnetic field. And as I said in my last night's video, I think we're developing multiple magnetic poles. Another is in preparation, pandemic. How do these people know all of these things? unless possibly what they suspected since 1908 by astronomer Mr. Lowell, which is why in 1972 they launched Pioneer 10, and the year later Pioneer 11, in two separate trajectories, so they can get a triangulation of something they suspect perturber is out there. And then again in 1983, Planet Cell. Now, since then, they've had estimations, okay? Yes, those dates have come and gone. Okay, so these estimations were well over 40 years ago. Let's assume that as Sal and his companions draw closer, they can fine-tune their calculations to the beginnings of its manifestations and earth changes. Let's consider that. And everything that's happening is just all orchestrated distractions. The one thing that's not an orchestrated distraction, and I keep on repeating myself, my favorite parts of the Bible is Luke 21 verses 25 and 26, and others, you know, there's the more important, you know, Matthew 24 and Mark 13, right? The rest of the gang. And that's your best source of information. It tells you what is going to happen. You have to interpret it properly. It does not always say with each one of these events what the cause is or what the trigger is. It only tells you the timing, these things that must first come to pass before his return. And again, I keep on repeating myself. The nations in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the seas and the changing tides. Now, some people will say, well, the seas are the people. No. Why would you create two separate things? The nations in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and the tossing of the seas and the changing tides. It's got nothing to do with people of the world. So cause and effect. As Sal draws closer and closer, it's going to cause the earth wobble, and the oceans are going to be sloshing back and forth, and they're going to intensify. We're going to be confused, confounded, filled with anguish and perplexity. We don't know what's going on. Most of us. Then in the next verse, Luke says, that men's hearts will fail them for fear, for looking upon that which is coming to the earth, awaiting an anticipation, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Are you feeling the intensity? We are going to be filled with fear in anticipation for looking upon that which will be coming to the earth, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. So, is that timeline sort of adding up now? Is this starting to make sense? And 2025? So let's go back to the cover story. cyber attack. I've done this video a few times. So the movie Leave the World Behind, done by the Obamas, they did not write that movie. They took that and they turned it into a movie. Forget about the racial overtones and what you think about him. That movie was very, very cleverly done. Excellent. In the beginning, they showed a picture of a partial celestial object behind the satellite, but way in front of the sun. So obviously they want you to see something red and big, closer to the Earth than the sun. Carlo Ferrata's calculation of Herculebus is going to be 14 million kilometers to the Earth. To give you some perspective, the sun is 150 million kilometers from the Earth. So they wanted you to see that. They showed you that 3 times. Later on in the movie, they actually showed you Luke 21 verse 25, the bedroom scene. They showed you it 3 times. The first scene, the mural behind the bed of the ocean was, so high, and it was just like, it was okay, a few ripples. The next scene later on, that mural, the ocean's a lot higher and it's getting rougher. The third time they show the scene, her son is standing up and the height of the ocean was way above his head. It was rough. They're giving you a clue, a message. Sea level rise, cover story, and a whole bunch of other things. The deer emerging out, and they're confused. I said this before. The deer and cows, when they want to lie down at rest, they will align their bodies facing north, aligning to the magnetic field. If all of a sudden you have a bunch of big events blast from the sun, hey, big events blast from the sun, you're going to severely disrupt the magnetic field lines. Multiple magnetic poles. So the deer were confused. Just like the flamingos landing in the pool. I can go on and explain every single one of those scenes in that movie and how it relates to large, huge solar flashes, power grids failing, the scene of the explosions in the city were not nuclear bombs going off. The substations were blowing up because of the sun, because of what happened on the sun. And in that scene, the helicopters are still flying around. Do you think they're going to still be flying around if there were nuclear bombs going off in that city? Let me explain something else. In October 2016, before President Obama left office, he signed Executive Order 13744, instructing the various departments to prepare the nation for solar impact events that would affect entire continents. He said, from the sun. And in brackets, it was written outside the solar system. Executive Order 13744. Look it up. And when you go on, hang on a minute. How many minutes? Wow, 15. 2025, folks. It's going to be getting intense. At us all. As you were.